Welcome to Tech Photo Blog. This is episode number 37. This week I'm going to be discussing how one might go about making a case for the Camera Axe 5 Shield kit. Now the Camera Axe 5 comes pre-assembled and in a nice case like this, but the board is quite a bit different, so this case will not work for the Camera Axe 5 Shield kit. Now the people who build the kit are more do-it-yourselfers. They have to solder together this board. It plugs into an Arduino, so a lot of them already have Arduino boards, which is a very popular microcontroller development board, and it just plugs in to the Camera Axe 5 Shield like that, and you're good to go. But a lot of people want to put it into a case, and while I've never made a case for one of these, a bunch of people on my forum have. And what I want to do is I want to show a lot of ideas that people have had for making cases, and people who buy this kit can then look at this video and get ideas for themselves on how to make a case for it. Now there are a few things. Had I known a lot of people wanted cases for this, I would have done a bit differently, and you might want to modify a little bit before you do the case. The first is that these buttons, they're not tall enough, so you can easily buy pin compatible buttons that are a bit taller, and I'll put a link to those in the show notes, and then that'll stick out a little higher. The second is that these chips, they stick out higher than the LCD screen, so you might consider either mounting them onto the back as a dead bug mounting practice, which you can look up in Wikipedia if you aren't familiar with what dead bugging a chip is. You could also just leave off the sockets, and then they'd be flush enough to not raise up as high. Another problem is that because these 3.5 millimeter jacks point out different sides, it's kind of hard to put it into a standard box. Because you have to kind of spread the box apart, fit it in, and then it'll snap. It's possible, but it'll be a bit troublesome, and most people end up either doing like a laser cut design where the sides are separate, or they'll, instead of soldering these connectors directly to the board, they'll run wires from here to a separate connector. The same with buttons. Sometimes they'll run wires to a button, and then you get more flexibility on where it's placed. Anyways, I'll show some pictures and talk about them that I've seen people doing, various ideas on how this might be done. Now for all of these cases, I'll be putting links to the forum threads where they were discussed, and I definitely suggest checking out those links for more information about where to get the cases and what modifications were done to those cases. This first one is pretty ideally sized for the Camera Axe, and not too many modifications were necessary to make it fit the Camera Axe 5 Shield. This next one is a bit bigger case, and what they did was they added the 3.5 millimeter jacks and an on-off switch and had those wired to the board, and the reason they did this was so that they had more flexibility when choosing the case for the Camera Axe 5 Shield. And this last design I wanted to go over was a laser cut design, and this is definitely a good option if you have access to a laser cutter. So those are just a few examples that I wanted to show from the forums, and I'm hoping that people take these ideas and improve on them and come up with some really unique case ideas for the Camera Axe 5 Shield. Thanks for watching.